iPad tu je. Apa ni je? Minum tak reti je.
Minum je, relax lah, benda kecil je.
Kau ni. Minum tak reti macam budak. Kau tumpah je. Minum je pun bang. Benda kecil sampai kat tangan.
Itu kan masalahnya. Mat sini. Gunalah cawan 83 ni.
Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're unpacking a really fascinating product development journey, the creation and market analysis of a brand new anti-spill mug. If you've ever ruined a ridiculously expensive laptop keyboard or shown up to a morning meeting with a fresh coffee stain down your shirt, well, this breakdown of how raw consumer data directly drives product design is exactly for you. So, let's jump right in and look at what we can comfortably call the daily spill epidemic.
You know, to actually solve a problem, you have to truly understand the exact customer pain point you're dealing with. The researchers here started at the very foundation of any good product design, the end user. They gathered up a pool of 52 participants and asked them a really simple yet incredibly revealing question. How often does your current mug leak? And wow, the answers they got back completely exposed a massive, glaring flaw in our everyday drinkware.
Just take a look at this number. A staggering 88.2% of the people surveyed experience leakage issues with their current mugs. I mean, think about that for a second. That is basically 9 out of every 10 people. That isn't just a minor inconvenience you casually wipe up with a napkin. No, that is a systemic failure across the entire consumer drinkware market. And honestly, that single data point instantly validates the need for a purpose-built, highly engineered solution.
And it gets even more interesting when we break down that frequency. Notice the distribution here. We're looking at 31.4% of people facing spills very often and another 29.4% often. That leaves only a tiny 11.8% of users who are lucky enough to rarely face leaks. So what does this tell product designers? It tells them consumers are practically screaming for two main things: a highly secure, leak-proof lid and a design that is so incredibly easy to clean that it actually gets used every single day.
Right, so how exactly do we go about engineering the perfect mug to solve all of this? Well, identifying a widespread problem is one thing, right? But building a functional, mass-market solution requires choosing the absolute best materials. This perfectly illustrates the brilliant compromise the designers reached. They combined a rigid, double-wall, vacuum-insulated armor of stainless steel with a soft, flexible, high-friction silicone base and handle. It's really the best of both worlds. The stainless steel gives you a non-porous, odor-resistant vessel that holds its temperature and, crucially, won't shatter during a chaotic morning commute. Meanwhile, that silicone acts as a powerful thermal barrier so you don't burn your hands while giving you the tactile grip you need to stop slips before they ever even happen.
But here's the thing, materials alone don't prevent spills. The structural layout does. Look at how these materials are intentionally mapped out in this CAD architecture. By digging into these schematics, you can really see how the functional physics of the mug come into play. Notice that deliberately wide base? It's designed specifically to create a lower center of gravity. That ensures that even if it takes a rogue elbow bump or a swipe from a passing backpack, the mug stays perfectly anchored and upright.
And that structural design theory translates directly into physical reality with this prototype. It was crafted specifically with the workplace in mind, which makes total sense since 38.5% of users identify the office as their primary battleground for spills. Just think about the environment it needs to survive in. It has to look sleek and professional during a meeting. It has to stay incredibly stable on a cluttered desk full of expensive equipment and important papers. And above all, it just has to be absolutely reliable day in and day out. Okay, but engineering a great product is truly only half the battle. Now we have to look at innovation versus market imitation. We have to ground this entire project in business reality, and we do that through a strategic SWOT analysis. This comparison here frames the ultimate market conflict. It pits the product's absolute greatest strength, which is of course premium spill prevention and mess reduction, directly against its most severe existential threat: rapid imitation by cheap competitors. The harsh reality of modern manufacturing is that when you spend the time, data, and money to build a much better mug, well, the low-cost copycats are never far behind.
But despite that looming threat of knockoffs, the market viability check is highly favorable.
An impressive 77% of consumers expressed a positive intent to buy this premium design. To capture that massive customer base, developers pinpointed the sweet spot for pricing, right between RM35 and RM45. Hitting and maintaining that target price, though, that means the company will have to expertly navigate supply chain risks, particularly the constantly shifting global raw material costs of that premium stainless steel and specialized silicone. Which leaves us with one final provocative question regarding this cutthroat drinkware market. Can genuine data-driven design outpace the inevitable wave of cheap imitations? It's a fascinating test of consumer behavior and a brilliant example of how smart, intentional engineering seeks to solve our everyday frustrations. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and remember, keep a close eye on your coffee cups.